Hello there, welcome to our comprehensive news for today. I am Idowu Fabajo. Tonight, Ogun State Government ESCO in Classroom program yielding positive results. Ex-Taraba Governor Jolly Nyami bags 14-year jail for stealing 1.6 billion naira. Ukraine stages fake murder of journalist Arkady Babchenko. Democracy works when people claim it as their own.
Hello and warm welcome. On the business segment of the news tonight, Naira appreciates against top foreign currencies. These and many more on the business segment of the news. My name is Kayode Taiwo. I'll see you there.
And on sport news tonight, Super Eagles coach Raw Court squad to 25, dropped Lukosa, Idowu and 2 others ahead of England friendly. Stay tuned for more sporting stories later on the news. My name is Moses Ojewumi.
In its third week running, ESCO in the Classroom initiative of the Senator Ibikunle Amosun-led administration has continued to harp on the importance of entrepreneurial skills in educational attainment, with the right skills gives balanced footing for the future. Our reporter in this report says some Ogun State government executive members were again in the classrooms, as monitored in Abeokuta Grammar School and Lishabi Grammar School, both in Idiaba, Abeokuta.
We have learned about the business entrepreneur, how to make a business and how to satisfy our customers with our business.
Actually, I've learned a lot of things. I've learned entrepreneur, how I can make my business, how I can know my customers, how I can deal with ethical dilemma, how I can make my business grow without having any customer complaints, and how I can deal with competitive business.
I've learned to sell the right markets, right products in the right markets. I've learned how to draw my business plan on how to go about the business, on how the business will not fall. And I also learned competitive advantages, the advantages I will see when I draw a business plan. And I've also learned that it gave us an example. You can't sell pork meat in the north, so it's like selling the right products in the right markets.
I've learned a lot in such a way of drawing a business plan. And in drawing a business plan, you know the right product to produce at the right time. It's not you producing a wrong product at the wrong time, like selling snow in Ogun State now where there's no snow box. How can you sell a snow? You can never make a profit in selling a snowball here in Ogun State.
Testimonies indicating the effectiveness of the ESCO in the Classroom initiative of the present administration, led by Senator Ibikunle Amosun, with the aim of equipping the students with employable skills in the present-day competitive world.
The short sentences are more meaningful.
What's question number 2?
As monitored by OGTV News at Abeokuta Grammar School and Lishabi Grammar School, Idiaba, the students applauded the initiative.
I would like to thank them very much for providing the time to come and meet us and teach us about the business entrepreneur so as to help us in our future.
We are very grateful. Thanks to them, and we pray that God will continue to bless them and give them more strength so that they could be able to educate us, and we are promising them that we also work on our entrepreneurial skill.
I really want to say a very big thank you, because you have really taught us a lot, and God continue to reward.
This is the third week of the program, which birthed in Ogun Central Senatorial District and will be replicated in other senatorial districts. Idowu. Meanwhile, ESCO in the Classroom, an initiative of the Ogun State government, inculcating entrepreneurship development skills in students right from the secondary school, has started yielding positive results. Students within 3 weeks of the program have demonstrated that they have learned by producing and packaging products ready for market. Our man, Kola Woliosho, covered the program in selected secondary schools in Abeokuta. His report is presented in this package.
This is the third week of ESCO in the classroom, an initiative of the current administration in the state, which centers on building in senior secondary schools one student's self-reliance through entrepreneurship skills, thereby reducing the rate of unemployment in the country.
Catching them young like this is very, very good, so that they will not just be dependent on white-collar jobs. They will become entrepreneurs in their own right, and gradually, right after their university education or whatever, they'll be able to stand on their own.
Monitoring the program in some selected schools in Abeokuta shows that it had positive impact on the students.
It's leadership by example. That's what I see the ESCO doing, and it's going to go a long way to inspire the student by seeing it that the future is very bright for them.
The assessment, the students are well ready to learn. They are great entrepreneurs, and they are ready to practice what they have been taught.
Some of the students have been able to put into practice what they have learned in terms of packaging for customers.
During this entrepreneur program by our commissioner, and we were told that we can be on our own, that we can be junior achievers, and so we thought about it, and so we were able to achieve this.
So I learned how to sew it well, to package it. In the shop I don't learn to package, I learn how to sew and to hang, so I learn more.
The students commend the state government for exposing them and taking them through vital entrepreneurship development skills.
Yeah, well, I've gained a lot of things. It's a very good program being organized, and we really enjoy it. So, and we pray for our governor, may God continue to bless him.
The state head of service, Mr. Fabajo, speaks at the end of the program.
These champions, they are full of ideas, they are full of energy, they are trusting. You only need to give them the preparation, the foundation from which to learn themselves what is where to go, and it will be part and parcel of school curriculum now.
He also enjoined students to adhere to all the learning in school and pursue their dream with steadfastness and purpose.
In Nigeria, the office of the wife of the governor is not a constitutional office, but one that complements functions of the sitting governor. An example that readily comes to mind is the wife of Ogun State Governor, who has taken several bold steps in complementing efforts of her husband in governance through her Uplift Development Foundation. Charity James reports on the activities of Uplift Development Foundation as well as that of the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development in this special package. Our report.
Uplift Development Foundation, an initiative of the wife of Ogun State Governor, Dr. Mrs. Olufunso Amusu, was created to touch lives in all local government areas of the state, give back to the society, especially the downtrodden, and generally complement governance, especially ministries, departments, and agencies of government in the state. But beyond this, the Uplift Development Foundation of Dr. Mrs. Olufunso Amusu has demonstrated the real definition of democracy through its many people-oriented programs. Some template of democratic dividend for the Uplift programs, which come in form of empowerment, trainings, charity work, encouragement, as well as mentoring, are classified into different categories with different name tags carrying the acronym Uplift.
We strive at Uplift Development Foundation to continue in this line. We intend to impact on vulnerable people, whether they're adults, whether they're children, and we also are happy when we can actually bring forth the special talents and skills in our children. So I would just say that we'll continue as we do at Uplift Development Foundation, and on a more elaborate scale in our mission to rebuild Ogun State. It's in line with what we do here in Ogun State in general, under the leadership of His Excellency Senator Idowu Amusu, FCA CON. I think we're doing all we can do at Uplift and as a government, just to create an enabling environment for our children, not even only students, for our children here in Ogun State to thrive and become better individuals in future.
Some of the projects with a lifespan of over 6 years include using the need of the people to cater for their limiting factors, the environment, the young, the aged, the rural dwellers, top Dr. Mrs. Amusu's agenda. As Uplifting the Ages specifically takes care of people of age 70 and above in the state across all local government and local council development areas with at least 5,000 naira each for over 1,000 elders monthly. Uplifting Unemployed Graduates scheme teaches youth to be self-sufficient through skill acquisition.
It's good to the old man. He usually invites us every year, so we have to come and do party with him on his birthdays.
Ìwé ìjẹ tó ń ṣe ní Ogun State tábẹ̀ rí pé ó ṣe gudugudu méje tó tẹ́ wa lọ́rùn ọlọ́wà bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí máa gbórí ẹ̀ sókè.
Some other uplifting programs like the Uplifting SS3 students, the youth through green education, Uplift on the 15th Football Talent Owned, Uplifting Schools came into being 2012 and 2013. The achievements of Dr. Mrs. Olufunso Amusu's Foundation cannot be limited to a particular segment of the society, as it cuts across health, sports, education, social development, not forgetting intellectual development. As GEPTI in 2015 paraded its ambassadors whose international trainings are to equip Nigerian youths to be good representation of the nation in a green environment. To Dr. Mrs. Amusu, the society should be a better place to live in through a chain work of charity, which is to the advancement of the economy, the society, and each family unit.
God has given us this opportunity and put us on a platform, and I just think that the only point of this platform is to be able to reach out to people and uplift them as much as possible. It doesn't matter who they are, whether they're women, aged, children, whoever we can reach out to, because the main objective of Uplift is poverty alleviation. So that's why we reach out to anybody that we can lend a helping hand to. It's nice when you see smiles on people's faces, and I'm thankful to God because I can feel the impact. I can see it on people's faces. There's never any middleman.
One ministry that has the responsibility of social welfare in the state and that of the vulnerable persons with special needs is the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development. Its achievement in this administration is worthy of mention.
Children was established in 1985 to provide shelter and care for abandoned children, special children, and motherless children. It also serves as a child shelter for lost but found children.
In celebrating democracy and its benefit to the people of the state, both the Office of the First Lady, Dr. Mrs. Olufunso Amusu, through Uplift Development Foundation, as well as the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, have indeed played their part in strengthening the fabrics of democracy and good governance in the state. Charity James, OGTV News.
You're watching OGTV News, and coming up, President Muhammadu Buhari hosts President of Sierra Leone, promises military support. More news and reports after this timeout. Don't go away.
It's up to us, all of us. The safety of our communities is in our hands. The police need our help and support. Boko Haram threatens our lives, our future, our country. But Nigeria belongs to us. God has blessed us with this rich land. Let us protect her as we protect each other. Report any criminal activity. Call these numbers. Your call is anonymous, and it is vitally important. Your support so far has been critical. Continuing it will make all the difference between a Nigeria of the fearful and a Nigeria of the free. Protect each other, for we are not terrorists. We are Nigerians. A message from the State Security Service.
We're glad to have you back. Appropriate leadership control with mental disposition have been identified as possible ways by which ethical standard and excellent work environment could be achieved in any citadel of learning across Nigeria. Pioneer Registrar, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Princess Adebisi Subuyigo stated this during the 2018 registry lecture. The event took place at the university campus, Alabata, Abeokuta. Peter Falomo completes the report.
The registry lecture, as delivered by the guest lecturer, the Pioneer Registrar, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Princess Adebisi Subuyigo, with the theme "Living Best Practices in Corporate Governance," was aimed at creating innovativeness in universities' administrators with essential ingredients of excellence in corporate governance in Nigeria and special focus on FUNAB. Reflecting on the theme of the lecture, Princess Adebisi Subuyigo charges education administrators on the need for periodic review of the internal control processes and procedures of registry in order to ensure balanced service delivery between university authorities and various unions in higher institutions.
It is not utopian to believe that the various staff units are now working together towards the common goal of elevating program to a higher pedestal envisioned by the founding fathers 3 decades ago. The structural framework, procedures, guidelines, rules and regulations are not lacking.
There were questions from the audience on grey areas of the lecture. Earlier in his speech, the FUNAB's registrar, Dr. Bola Adekoya, says understanding the principles of corporate governance is key for healthy living conditions in all institutions of learning. In their separate reactions, Chairman of the event, Mr. Matthew Ayola, and the Vice Chancellor, FUNAB, Professor Felix Salako, speak on the necessity of modern technology in activities of registry departments of any university, with improvement coming the way of FUNAB registry.
I believe that all of us that have listened to the lecture have taken 1 or 2 days to add to our competence and eligibility in general. This is the first time we register as a medical lecturer. I want to bring to record that will make possible with the effective support of the register. These are activities that are very on the registry, and these are activities we must keep working on.
Registry lecture will become an annual event in Federal University of Agriculture at Abeokuta. Peter Falomi, OGTV News.
Abuse of human rights can affect the socio-economic growth and development of any nation. Hence the need for Muslims and not-Muslims to recognize the rights of fellow human beings so as to have a peaceful society. Guest lecturer Professor Abdulrahman Uluyide stated this during the annual Ramadan lecture of Tai Shulari College of Education Muslim Community in Omu-Ijebu. Yusuf Gani was there for OGTV News.
Tai Shulari College of Education, Omu-Ijebu's mission and vision statement is to be a center of excellence in teacher education and provide a veritable opportunity for improving the national and international educational landscape for global practices. For this reason, 2018 annual Ramadan lecture of the college's Muslim community is tagged Human Rights and Justice in Islam, basically to educate and enlighten Muslim Ummah on the right perspective to live accordingly to the will of Allah. The guest lecturer from University of Idowu, Professor Abdulrahman Uluyide, says abuse of human rights is an act of injustice in Islam.
It has caused us all that is important. So wherever you are, you must not bring aside every other man around. The decide to sound that call. It is an crucial time for you as leader of the community, as governor of the state, head of the state, as leader of the community, to remind others their right to serve their God.
Professor Oluyede also stresses that parents should give the right to education and moral upbringing to their children, adding that through this, a lot could be achieved in the society.
So I want everybody going forward is not people are right to protect people are right to give people are moral and education and also empowerment to live alone. So we cannot be not
The provost of the college, Dr. Lukman Adiola Kiadeshe, and some other distinguished personalities also reflect on the theme.
If we respect human rights, there's going to be peace and tranquility in the society, and that is what we are trying to preach. That once we protect our rights, there's going to be peace and tranquility within ourselves, within our nation, and so on and so forth.
Let's all believe that Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, has control over everything. Don't deny me of my rights. I should not deny you of yours.
We have to be just. We have to do the right thing at the right time. Human being rights should be given adequately.
Muslim faithful were admonished to use the month of Ramadan as an avenue to pray for the peace and progress of the nation. Yusuf Ganiyu, OGTV News.
A clarion call has been made to all Old Student Association in secondary and primary schools across Ogun State to get involved in the campaign for alma mater endowment in order to contribute immensely to the development of education sector. This came from the chairman of the Conference of Old Students and Alumni Association of Western Nigeria, Professor Dilano Adileko, while on a courtesy visit to the management of Ogun State Television. According to him, the purpose of the visit is to seek the partnership of the corporation in the conference and by extension Old Student Associations at school levels.
We are looking for a strong partnership with the station for activities because we believe that OGTV is one of the major stakeholders in educational promotion and development in Ogun State, and so we believe we should have a strong partnership with that station.
The Conference of Old Students and Alumni Association of Western Nigeria is an affiliate of the Educational Initiative for Development in Nigeria, established solely for the effective mobilization of old students towards the campaign for alma mater.
The whole idea is to mobilize all students all over to be able to do something for their alma mater, because we observe, particularly those of us who attended schools 40-50 years ago, that the standard has fallen, infrastructure has decayed in most of our schools, and so what we are trying to do is, this initiative, what it's trying to do is to restore our schools back to the old glory days of the past.
Ogun State chapter of the conference is the pilot that has provided the practical base for the establishment of other chapters in the 5 southwest states. President Muhammadu Buhari hosted his Sierra Leone counterpart Julius Bill at the presidential villa, Abuja. That was the first time he would be visiting Nigeria after his recent election. The two leaders discussed issues of mutual benefits for their countries at a meeting held behind closed doors. He told State House correspondents at the end of the meeting that they both agreed to strengthen ties for the mutual benefit of the two countries. The visiting president disclosed that issues concerning security, trade, health, and movement of people were discussed at the meeting. He said he was in Nigeria to appreciate the support of Nigeria to Sierra Leone during its difficult times and its recently held election. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, has announced his resignation from President Muhammadu Buhari cabinet. Dr. Fayemi made the announcement on Wednesday at a valedictory briefing in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, in order to pursue its governorship ambition in Ekiti State. He had given a hint about his resignation from the president's cabinet earlier in May during an interview. The former minister emerged as the All Progressives Congress APC governorship candidate for Ekiti State in the party's rescheduled primary election, which held in May 12. He faulted the allegation that he was desperate to become the governor of the state for his second term. He said he was contesting the election because he was unable to complete his mission in his first tenure. Following his victory at the primary, President Buhari congratulates Fayemi and other aspirants who took part in the exercise. The president was optimistic that having won the party's ticket, the former governor would leverage his track records as a reformist who has a passion for education, health and welfare to reclaim the governorship seat when the state goes to poll on July 14. He, however, asked members of the APC in Ekiti to uphold the values and philosophy of the ruling party by coming together to support the former minister. The Senate is to carry out an investigation into the alleged incident of sexual harassment by a student, Monica Osage, against a lecturer of the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. The motion moved by Senator Abiodun Olujimi mandates the Senate committees on tertiary institutions, judiciary, human rights, legal matters to invite the school's management for questioning. The drama around Senator Dino Melaye is yet to abate following his resumption for legislative duty at Senate plenary. He technically defected to the opposition People's Democratic Party. He relocated from the aisle of the ruling All Progressives Congress to that of the PDP, insisting that he would no longer sit among APC senators. Melaye accused the police of trying to kill him twice through a chemical substance and injection. He asked Senate President Bukola Saraki to permit him to henceforth sit on the aisle of the opposition, the PDP. He had earlier thanked the PDP and others for helping him during his ordeal, but remained silent on the ruling party, the APC. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress has reacted to Senator Dino Melaye's purported defection to the PDP. APC spokesman Bolaji Abdullahi said the senator didn't inform the party about his move and the APC respect his right of association and wishes him well. An effort to enable Nigeria engage the international community towards tackling the proliferation of small arms and light weapons got a push at the House of Representatives at Wednesday's plenary. This followed the passage at second reading of a bill for an act to establish the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons, which seeks, amongst other things, combat the problems of arms proliferation. Report says that the House also adopted the motions on the need to urgently provide medical and economic support to patients suffering from vesical vagina fistula. An Abuja High Court has sentenced the former governor of Taraba State, Jolly Uyami, to 14 years in prison without an option of fine. The court convicted Uyami for criminal breach of trust in the case of 1.6 billion naira fraud charged against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Uyami, who was Taraba State Governor between 1999 and 2007, was accused of criminally misappropriating the funds while he governed the state. Delivering a judgment that lasted more than 4 hours on Wednesday, Justice Adebukola Banjoku found the former governor guilty in 27 out of 41 counts he was charged with. The judge blamed Uyami for financial recklessness and brazen display of executive power without following due process. Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onogan, has directed all courts in the country to first explore alternative dispute resolution in all contract matters where arbitration clauses are inserted before going for litigation. He gave the directive at the opening of a seminar for judges on construction law. Although this may not be known to many people, court statistics have shown that litigations that come from construction laws are massive in Nigeria. These litigations came in form of contract violations, compensations, and project disputes. Another complications in this field of law is the intermingling of different disciplines and professionals to bring a construction project into existence. All this, the Chief Justice of Nigeria says, brings about the need for justice and judges to understand the complexity in the industry, particularly by now that foreign aid is also being sought in the execution of projects in Nigeria. He also spoke about how the good flow of cases in court can encourage foreign investment in Nigeria.
With delays in the adjudication of cases will be unattractive to investors. It is also instructive to note that where alternative dispute resolution mechanisms are effectively deployed, same will drastically reduce the volume of cases before our courts. Such a system will encourage investment as investors will be confident that their assets and investments are secured.
The National Judicial Institute, organizers of the seminar, says it is to address given areas which judges encounter regarding dispute in this area of law.
To mention that Nigeria is undergoing incredible growth, and as a result of this, the sector faces numerous challenges ranging from archaic regulations, demand and supply, disputes in relation to claims for payment, damages due to defects in completed works, and variation in contract sums due to inflation.
The theme of the seminar is laying the foundation for effective dispute resolution in the Nigerian constitution sector. Some protesting members of the outlawed Independent Peoples of Biafra, IPOB, have been arrested by the police in Enugu State. The Commissioner of Police in Enugu State, Damalam Muhammad, who confirmed the arrest, told the media that the IPOB members, numbering 21, were arrested while protesting in front of the government house in the state capital. The Commissioner added that those arrested would not go unpunished. Among those arrested by the police include one Benjamin Nwuka, who the Commissioner alleged that he killed a police officer during an IPOB protest in 2014. An 18-year-old herdsman, Muhammad Sugu, was cut to destroy a 4 million naira cassava farm on Wednesday, appeared before an Ado-Ekiti Chief Magistrate Court. The accused is facing a charge of destruction of farm crops. The police prosecutor, Inspector Johnson Okwade, told the court that the accused committed the offense on May 15 at Igidi Farm Settlement. He alleged that the accused unlawfully grazed his cattle on the farmland belonging to Mr. Andy Otumba and destroyed cassava, value at 4 million naira. The offense contravenes sections 2 and 7 of the Prohibition of Cattle and Other Remnants Grazing in Ekiti State, as amended in 2018. The prosecutor had requested the court to remand the accused and asked for adjournment to enable him to study the case file and present his witnesses at the next hearing date. The accused pleaded not guilty to the charge, and his lawyer, Mr. Chris Omochafe, urged the court to grant him bail with a promise that he would be of good conduct and would not jump bail. Magistrate Adesoji Adegbuyi in his ruling granted the accused bail in the sum of 250,000 naira with one surety in like sum. He adjourned the case until July 13 for hearing. You're watching OGTV Main News, and up next is Business News.
Hello and welcome to the business segment of the news. The Naira moves up at the parallel market for the first time this week. The local currency trades at 363 Naira, 417 Naira and 425 Naira against the dollar, pound sterling and euro respectively. The recent appreciation of the Naira can be attributed to intervention of the CBN at the foreign exchange markets. The Naira has appreciated at the parallel exchange market sector after its steady appreciation was halted. It was gathered that the local currency gained 3 points against the greenback to close the day at 363 Naira per dollar. Oil prices steadied on Wednesday after slipping prices as Saudi Arabia and Russia said they will pump more crude oil in response to falling global crude incentives and rising consumer prices. Saudi Arabia and Russia have discussed raising OPEC and non-OPEC oil production by 1 million barrels per day to counter potential supply shortfalls from Venezuela and Iran. Brent crude was up 1 cent at 75 Naira $40 a barrel by 4:19 GMT. US West Texas Intermediate crude was up to 10 cents at $66.83 a barrel. OPEC has over-delivered on supply cuts in the past 6 months. Global head of commodity market strategy at French Bank and Paris said in a note to clients, OPEC-led supply cuts have largely cleared an inventory surplus in industrialized countries and stocks continue to decline. Smarting from the pains and embarrassment of non-payment of their retirement benefits a year after, federal government retirees have accused pension fund administrators, PFAs, of sabotaging the 2004 contributory pension scheme. They also took a swipe at the PFAs, who are the custodians of the pensions contributed by the civil servants before retirement, for flouting the directives of the National Pension Commission, PENCOM, the regulatory body set up by government to supervise PFAs. A pensioner who retired as a director in a federal government agency got the shock of his life when he visited a PFA at Anthony Village, Lagos, as he was paid only 17% as gratuity instead of 40% after 13 months he had retired. According to him, he had planned to collect 7 million naira, but was given 3 million, representing 17% of his contributions and that of the federal government. Mr. Victor Muraco, acting chairman Fiscal Responsibility Commission, says more than 650 billion naira has so far been remitted as operating surplus into the Consolidated Revenue Fund in the last 2 years. Muraco made this known while speaking with the News Agency of Nigeria in Abuja. He said it was part of the FRSC mandate to ensure that scheduled corporations under the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007 remit 80% of their operating surplus into the CRF. According to him, through the Commission's intervention, the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, has complied with the FRA and has, within the first quarter of 2018, remitted about 49.7 billion naira to the CRF. He said that under the present administration, there had been a lot of improvement in payment of operating surpluses, adding that more corporations were added to the schedule in 2018. Part of what we have done is to recommend the increase of ministries, departments and agencies under our schedule. Before they were 31, but since December 2016, the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, approved the inclusion of 91 organizations, bringing to the total number to 122. And lastly, the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, has said the federal government will mitigate the negative impact of the delay in the implementation of the 2018 budget on the economy. She said this while responding to questions from journalists. She disclosed that in recent times there have been disagreements between the Executive and the National Assembly over the passage of annual budgets. The 2017 budget was not passed and assented to until June last year. The same scenario played out with the 2018 budget, which was presented to both chambers of the National Assembly in November 2017 and only passed the test of legislative scrutiny in May of this year. Speaking on the delay in the passage of this year's budget, Adeosun said the federal government will have to realign its priorities since 5 months had gone already. And that's how it has been in the business world. And back to Idowu for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Kayode. We will bring you foreign news after this break. Do stay with us. Alright, Ukraine staged the murder of a Russian dissident journalist in Kiev on Tuesday in what it said was a sting operation to foil a Russian assassination plot. Arkady Babchenko went shockwaves around the world when he arrived at a press conference on Wednesday, less than 24 hours after he was reported dead. The head of Ukraine Security Services, Vadim Shusak, said the elaborate sting was set up to catch 8 men paid by Russian forces. Police said they had made one arrest. Babchenko's wife said that she had found him at the entrance to their apartment block with bullet wounds in his back, and he was reported to have died in an ambulance on the way to hospital. There were gasps and applause as the journalist entered the room for the press conference on Wednesday. He thanked the Ukrainian security services for saving his life and said he had no choice but to take part. Still on the foreign scene, the man who shot dead 2 police officers and a civilian in the Belgian city of Liege had killed someone the night before the attacks, the country's interior minister says. Jan Jamban said the gunman named as Benjamin Elmo had murdered a man, a former prisoner he met while in jail. Prosecutors say they are treating the attacks as terrorist murder. The gunman also took a female cleaner hostage at a school before being killed by police. Officials said the 31-year-old man had shouted Allahu Akbar, God is greatest, in Arabic several times during the attack. He was let out from prison on temporary release on Monday, where he had been 7 times for theft and drug offenses. Local media report that the may have been radicalized while in jail. And that's all we have for you on the foreign news. Now it's time for sport.
Welcome to the sports segment of the news, starting from the world of tennis. Serena Williams said she felt like a superhero in the black cat suit she wore during the 7-6, 7-4, 6-4 win over Kristina Pliskova at the French Open. The temperature hit 25 centigrade in Paris, but did not seem to affect the 23-time major winner in her first Grand Slam match since giving birth last September. The 36-year-old added that she loves to live in a fantasy world and become a superhero. Williams also said the outfit helped her to cope with the issue of blood clots, which she revealed in February almost cost her life.
première manche, Madame Williams.
And now to football stories. Super Eagles coach Janet Roy has dropped 4 players from his World Cup squad. Standard League defender Uche Agbo, Bulgaria's based Stephen Eze, Dele Ajibo of Plateau United, and Indian professional football league top scorer Jimmy Lukosa did not make the cut. And player Mrs. Sam is currently nursing a thigh injury and will be out of action for at least 3 weeks. Will be traveling with the team, according to team sources. Dimitri and his teammate President Ronaldo Buhari on Wednesday morning before they flew to London aboard a chartered aircraft for another pre-World Cup friendly against the Lions of England. And elsewhere in Argentina, Lionel Messi said Argentina will go to Russia with hope after he scored a hat-trick in their first World Cup run-up win over Haiti. The Barcelona star set up Manchester City's Sergio Aguero for the 4th goal against a team ranked 108th in the world. Aguero began the game on the bench with Gonzalo Higuain and Angel Di Maria starting alongside Messi in attack. Messi's first half opener came from the penalty spot after 17 minutes, then he scored twice after the break before creating a goal for Aguero, who has recovered from a knee injury at Boca Juniors Stadium. Argentina now fly to Barcelona to prepare for World Cup group matches against Iceland on 16 June, Croatia on 21 June, and Nigeria on 26 June.
Messi. Off the fingertips and to the back of the net.
Great attempt by Johnny Placide. We see it again. He guesses the right way, but the height. Good players keeping good players out. That's a great pass.
Mancini
Magic.
squares, settling.
Brilliant.
Chipped across Lo Celso. And the volley from Di Maria. Messi about 35 yards out. Staying with them stride for stride. Now into the goal line, chipped across, knotted down, and it's Messi on the rebound. Lo Celso denied, Messi is not.
Amazing. Messi.
Mohamed Salah is expected to return in 3 weeks to help spearhead Egypt's World Cup campaign, the country's football federation have said. Salah was first off with a shoulder injury during Liverpool's 3-1 Champions League final defeat to Real Madrid last week after tagging with Sergio Ramos. The forward arrived in Valencia on Tuesday for treatment on his shoulder and has been assessed by Egyptian national team doctors. The Egyptian Football Association have since tweeted they expect Salah to be fit again within 3 weeks. And lastly, the Federation of International Basketball Associations, FIBA, has stated that the Nigerian Basketball Federation, NBBF, is the only recognized body in Nigeria empowered to organize all aspects of basketball. In a letter dated May 28, 2018, sent by FIBA's Secretary General, Patrick Burama, and addressed to NBBF President, Engineer Musa Kida, the body reiterated unequivocally its earlier stance, recognizing Kida and his board as being in charge of basketball affairs in Nigeria until such time that a new election will be held. The latest letter is an attempt to FIBA to put to bed arguments in public space about who is in charge of basketball affairs in Nigeria following the insistence of the former board not to hand over NBBF property in their possession. And that's all we have for you on Sport News. Over now to Idowu.
You're welcome from the sports segment of the news. Let me serve you the weather forecast for Thursday. Democracy works when people claim it as their own. And lastly, the top stories again. Ogun State government ESCO in classroom initiative has yielded positive results. Ex-Taraba Governor Jolly Nyame has backed 14-year jail term for stealing 1.6 billion naira. Naira appreciated against top foreign currencies. Ukraine staged fake murder of journalist Arkady Bamchenko. And in the world of sport, we said Super Eagles coach Raw reduced squad to 25, dropped Lokosa, Agbo and 2 others ahead of England friendly. And that's it on the main news for tonight. Many thanks to you for your time. I am Idowu Fabajo. Goodbye.